Hi, I'm Dr. Ben Newman. I'm a coronavirus expert. Let's get to your questions. Next question is from Debbie. Hello, Debbie. Hi, Dr. Ben. All right. It's so hot to social distance outside with my children and grandkids. I don't know if you're writing from Texas, but living in Texas, yeah, I'm with you. It's really hot, really uncomfortable. Yeah, is it safe if no one has symptoms, wears a mask, and stays 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart, to be inside an air-conditioned house? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Depends where you draw the line at safe. So, reasons against. One would be that if your children are somewhere in the vicinity, or I guess pretty much anywhere, they will be either back at school or maybe going back to school on Monday. And so at school, we have already seen now most school districts are being real cagey and reporting the minimum amount of data that they have to, like number of cases, to the counties and not telling anybody else at the schools. And so it's just like all rumor mill. Yeah. But you can see when, a teacher or a friend says, oh, yeah, two classrooms have been entirely quarantined or something like that. Yeah. And I've heard this at multiple schools. The problem is much bigger than people are letting on. So I think you have to figure if they are back at school in any way or doing any of these school activities, they are exposed. And they won't have symptoms yet, but they can pass on the virus. There's a real neat paper that just came out, and it was talking about pediatric COVID-19 and that it's actually really common and that they spread it very widely. So, yeah. So that's a big risk right now, I would say. But if they don't have symptoms, then yeah, that doesn't tell you much. Yeah, because about half of people will have the virus and not have symptoms, and you're going to be the one that gets the symptoms. Yeah, and I don't want you to get the symptoms. Yeah, because they're bad. They get worse the older we get. Yeah, which is not anything anybody wants to hear. Um, but let's see. So if you're inside and you're wearing a mask and you're staying 6 feet apart, I mean that sounds like a lot of things we're doing. That sounds like going to the supermarket. That sounds like, yeah, some of the things that we basically have to do. It's not safe, but it's safer, and yeah, you might consider it as being reasonable. Now, you can also be extra safe, and the extra safe layer would be available depending where you are, but also not available depending where you are. And that would be to have everybody get a test. So they'll get a test. It'll take them something like 3-4 days to get the results back. And then once the results are back, then you know that at least they don't have enough virus in them right then to be a real threat, not enough to detect. And so probably they're safe coming over, and yeah, you're okay for a day or two. Now, after that, sure, all bets are off because it takes a while for the virus to build up enough to the point where you can actually detect it. And so they could be a day before you were going to detect it. And yeah. So, from a perspective of trying to keep everybody safe, it's not a great idea, but the things that you're saying, wearing a mask, staying apart, and I would say limiting the time, those would be worthwhile. And if you got an option to just leave it for a little bit, I think we're going to go through a big old wave of school related infections. And I don't want you to be part of that wave. Yeah. If it's possible to avoid it. Yeah. Because, yeah, there's enough misery out there without having to throw a little more on the pile, I would say. So, there we go. That's my opinion. Thanks very much. This has been Ask Dr. Ben.